They've all had dick pics sent to them. It's so standard it's not noteworthy, and they just block it and move on. Listen, this isn't some line from a dystopian sci-fi novel. This is an actual direct quote from a mother giving evidence in a recent UK Parliament report by the group Internet Matters. It really highlights this staggering, almost casual normalization of online misogyny and digital abuse among teenagers today. It absolutely sets the stakes for what we're going to unpack. So, how on earth did we get here? And who are the key figures driving this cultural shift? Welcome back to The Explainer. Today, we're taking a purely fact and data-driven look at one of the most widely searched and, honestly, highly controversial figures on the internet right now, Emory Andrew Tate III. We're going to trace the journey of the man himself, the massive digital empire he built, the very severe legal allegations he's facing, and maybe most importantly, the measurable societal ripple effect his rise has had on youth and digital culture. Okay, let's just dive right in. Here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with his rise in combat sports, look at exactly how he built his online empire, walk through the timeline of his legal battles, and then zoom out to see the real-world impact on youth based on that parliamentary data. Finally, we'll look at some of the proposed policy interventions for our digital future. Section 1. Rise of the Top G. So born in Washington, D.C. back in 1986 to an African-American chess master father and an English mother, Andrew Tate actually moved to a rough estate in Luton, England after his parents divorced. Now, before all the internet notoriety, Tate actually had a highly legitimate professional combat sports background. Training out of Storm Gym in Luton, he fought as a full-contact kickboxer under the nickname King Cobra. Just look at these stats for a second. 86 total professional fights, 76 wins, and 32 of those were by knockout. He snagged 5 championships, including multiple ISKA and Infusion world titles across different weight classes. He even had one pro MMA bout, which, yeah, he won by knockout. He eventually hung up his gloves around 2016 because of a recurring eye injury. But, as he claimed later on, kickboxing just didn't make him rich. Section 2. Building the online empire. Moving away from the ring, Tate realized pretty quickly that attention is basically the ultimate modern currency. So he leveraged his early notoriety, which included a really brief controversial stint on the British reality show Big Brother back in 2016, to build this massive, incredibly lucrative business ecosystem. It's like a 3-step playbook. Step 1 was the webcam business. Starting in 2014, he and his brother Tristan built a webcam porn operation that they eventually moved over to Romania. At its peak, they reportedly had about 75 women working for them, and Tate himself admitted that the model basically relied on selling fake sob stories to male callers. As that wound down, he pivoted to Step 2, online education. He launched Hustlers University, which later rebranded to The Real World. This was a subscription platform teaching wealth accumulation through crypto and e-commerce, and it was heavily fueled by affiliate marketing. Finally, Step 3 was the War Room, which is the secretive, higher-tier network promoting hypermasculinity and self-discipline. Critics, including the BBC, have actually accused it of teaching coercion. Now, I want you to let this number sink in. $5 million. By August of 2023, estimates showed that Tate's online ventures, specifically those subscriptions to The Real World and The War Room, were generating $5 million in revenue every single month. That's a massive financial war chest, and it was built on a very specific digital ideology. To really understand his empire, we have to understand the ecosystem he completely dominated, the manosphere. This is generally defined as a network of online spaces that promote hypermasculinity and, quite often, highly controversial views. Tate leaned into this super aggressively. I mean, he was dubbed the king of toxic masculinity, and according to Wikipedia sources, has openly referred to himself as a misogynist. His content really ranges from standard business advice to literal statements discussing women as property. This created a viral loop of outrage and engagement that social media algorithms just absolutely ate up. Section 3. Legal battles and allegations. But this massive digital footprint soon collided head-on with real-world authorities. And this timeline spans several years and multiple continents. So in December 2022, Andrew and Tristan Tate were arrested in Romania. By June 2023, formal Romanian charges were filed. The legal net widened even further in March 2024 when British police got an arrest warrant for the brothers tied to a reopened investigation. Fast forward to May 2025, and the UK Crown Prosecution Service formally brought multiple charges against them. And most recently, in July 2026, the brothers were arrested in Miami, Florida, with the US acting on an extradition request from the UK. The specific charges brought across these different jurisdictions are incredibly severe. In both Romania and the UK, authorities have leveled criminal charges that include human trafficking, the trafficking of minors, rape, and forming an organized crime group to sexually exploit women. On top of that, there are financial allegations too, including money laundering, and even a civil case in the UK regarding alleged tax evasion. Now, the absolutely crucial point here is this. Andrew and Tristan Tate have staunchly and consistently denied every single charge and allegation against them. They completely maintain their innocence across all jurisdictions, and they've even gone as far as filing defamation lawsuits against some of their accusers. As of the current source data we have, these legal proceedings remain entirely active and unresolved in the courts.
Section 4. The ripple effect on youth.
While the courts sort out the legal side of things, the cultural impact of Tate's content is something we can already measure. Pulling data directly from written evidence submitted to the UK Parliament by the nonprofit Internet Matters, what's genuinely surprising is who is actually consuming and approving of this content. It's really not just isolated teenagers. According to the research, a surprising 56% of young fathers, dads aged 25 to 34, have a favorable impression of Andrew Tate. That is a vital metric. Why? Because the report notes that parents are overwhelmingly the primary source of information for kids learning about online safety and concepts like misogyny. If the home environment views this content favorably, well, it directly impacts how the kids are going to process it. And that trickle-down effect, it's having devastating real-world consequences in schools right now. 400%. The Parliament report highlights a 400% increase in nude deepfakes. Those are AI-generated, sexually explicit images in literally just the space of 1 year. And the data shows an estimated 99% of these target girls and women, often created by their male peers using these AI nudifying tools. So a really critical step here is understanding the terminology that educators are now having to use to combat this. It's called intimate image abuse, or IIA. This encompasses the non-consensual creation or sharing of private intimate images. So that includes those deepfakes we just talked about, as well as cyberflashing. The research strongly indicates that the misogynistic online content championed in the manosphere is directly shaping these harmful image-sharing practices among peer groups. The prevalence of this is alarming, to say the least. The data shows that 15% of UK teenagers aged 13 to 16, that is roughly 1 in 7 kids, or about 400,000 children, have already experienced some form of intimate image abuse. Girls are disproportionately the victims here, and vulnerable children are at an even higher risk. Teachers are reporting being extremely concerned about how online misogyny is basically influencing male pupils to praise these influencers and then engage in discriminatory behavior toward their female peers and even female staff. Section 5. Navigating the digital future. So, how exactly do institutions respond to a digital ecosystem that literally monetizes radicalization and normalizes this kind of abuse? Well, the Internet Matters report proposed a multi-pronged approach to the UK government. First up, there's a really strong push to outright ban AI nudifying tools, since they basically have no purpose other than generating non-consensual imagery. Second, to regulate online pornography with the exact same strict guardrails that are required for offline adult content, just to stop kids from easily bypassing age verification. Third, enforcing what's called safety by design on social media platforms. That means requiring them to build in friction that actually discourages intimate image sharing, and mandating the deplatforming of accounts that promote gender-based violence. And finally, strengthening media literacy right in schools, teaching kids critical thinking before they encounter the content, rather than just scrambling to react to it after the fact. You see, the story of Andrew Tate is a lot more than just a biography of a kickboxer turned internet mogul who is now facing legal scrutiny. It's really a case study in the mechanics of the modern internet. It shows how algorithms reward extreme views, how these massive digital empires are monetized, and how online rhetoric inevitably bleeds right into offline reality, straight into the classrooms and the phones of teenagers. It leaves us with a pretty profound challenge. How should society balance internet freedom with the urgent need to protect children in the digital age? It's a question that policymakers, parents, and the platforms themselves are going to be forced to answer. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and keep asking the big questions.